Now, how do we do? How do we fit into this? How does this work? When you give God your life and all that you have, you expect something wonderful to happen. You expect something wonderful. When he took that bag, or that basket probably he had, and he handed it to the disciples, and he was by proxy giving it to Jesus, the little boy, he just gave up his lunch. But he expected Jesus to do something with it. And he did. He took a small boy's lunch and he fed probably close to 20,000 people. And they were all full, and there were baskets left over. Folks, what is our focus? What are we focusing on? Is our focus on what we can do or what God can do? That's really a question, isn't it? What's our focus on? Man, I need your help just a second. Could you just hold this up and turn it around and show everybody what's on it? What do y'all see there? Anybody? Come on, this is interactive. What do you see? You see a dot, a period. What else? A bullseye. What else do you see? Is that all you see? Is a dot, a period, or a bullseye? You see somebody holding the paper. Yeah, hold that up so they can't see. No, I'm just kidding. What else do you see there? Most of you see the dot, the black dot. But few of you mentioned the paper. Did you? And without the paper, there would be no dot. That's how we narrow our focus. Okay, you can put that down if you want to. That's how we narrow our focus, isn't it? All we see is what we focus on. You'll just see the dot. And when you just see the dot, you miss the whole big picture of it, don't you? Yeah. I know it was quite evident. But the problem is, this is what we focus on. That dot just kind of drew your attention, didn't it? And sometimes that's what Satan does to us. He narrows our focus so much that all we can focus on is me. Or as one person put it, praying for me and my four no more. We don't see the big picture of what God's doing. But all the vastness of that dot just consumed a little bit of that paper. I thought about putting it up on the screen, at that point, but it only consumed a small part. But yet, that small part jumped out when it was put in the context of everything that was there. And that's exactly what this little boy did. And because of that, we still have that covenant. So my question to you today is how do you fit in to God's big plans? How do you fit in? What significant part can you play? You say, nobody will ever be talking about what I do thousands of years from now. But yet by faith, folks, when we're committed to it, people remember. And God remembers our faith. When I pastored in a different county in the state of Kentucky many years ago, and the second pastorate that I had as a young man, I had hair back then, by the way. There was a little lady that I came acquainted with that lived down on the creek and had moved there to live near her children. Very meager lifestyle. She came to church a couple of times, and soon she became where she was not able to get there. And she sent word to me she said, tell the preacher he needs to get down here soon. Well, I thought, okay, so I got down there the next day. And I walked in, and she looked at me, and this was, like a week or so after the first of the month. And she had a little envelope there. And she said, preacher, I thought you'd be here last week. I said, well, I didn't know you needed me last week. She said, well, I get my check every month at the first of the month. And I got my tithe in here. And God can't use it with it here with me. And you ought to have been here to get it. I said, well, I didn't know that. She said, I couldn't come. And I thought about it, and she placed that in my hand, and I could feel it. And it wasn't the dollar bills I felt, it was the coins that I felt in there. And if I didn't show up at the first of the month, every month, if she wasn't able to be there, I got fussed at. I got fussed at. It was by her faith. And I'll never forget it. And I asked our treasurer, because I never opened the envelope. I didn't want to know what was in there. But I asked him, I said, what kind of coins were in there? And he said, well, preacher, there was a few bills, and there was a little bit of silver, and there were some pennies in there. I said, would you think that was a tithe? And this was his answer to me. He said, preacher, down to the penny. Down to the penny. And so the next time, because God laid this on my heart, I said, I need to borrow that before I give it to you. And I simply held it and showed what faith looked like to our congregation then. Down to the penny. Down to the penny.